can't wait to ask you a million questions today about what's going on in Chicago and your biggest epiphanies. We're going to be transitioning over to Facebook Live for this particular session. So we've got 2 sessions a month. We've got this one that's open to everyone. It's open to all of our members. And it's more of a Q&A with experts for you to listen to. And then the 3rd Wednesday of the month, we're keeping on Zoom. And that one's going to be open to everyone, but private. It's for Inner Circle full access members only. That one's staying on the Zoom, but this one's going to Facebook Live. So if you guys want to, make sure you join our private Facebook group, because I'm going to be sending the invitations to our mentor sessions more through Facebook and making announcements through our social media than through emails and texts.
So Erica, tell these guys as kind of a marketing lesson or education of why a company, whether it's us or them, my day, may want to evolve from like a Zoom seminar to a Facebook seminar.
It's because the Facebook Live integrates with several of our channels. It gives us more cachet. It makes Facebook like us a little bit more if they see activity. So Facebook always looks at the capabilities. And if you are doing things like, if you're uploading videos to Facebook directly, it's instead of cross-posting videos from other platforms, they're looking at, are you using Facebook Live? So if you're using Facebook Live, then Facebook likes you a little bit more. So these are just part of the algorithms, and we still get a resulting, we can do that cross-post on other platforms, but we also get a resulting video file, a nice video file from it, so we can edit it and we can turn it into content. Another reason why we're putting it on Facebook is just making it easier and accessible to everyone. Today is the Crushing It in Aesthetics. It's the Crushing It in Aesthetics Zoom here with Lou. And as you guys probably know, Lou is the founder of National Laser Institute, and he's also the founder of Louology and Revellana, primarily. And if it's okay for me to go into this, Louis, it's,
sure.
The Institute trains people, and training is amazing and life-changing. And then there's this thing called reality as soon as you graduate. And he just didn't want to let go, and I respect that. So he grabbed me and he said, "Hey, will you run this entity that's going to help our graduates really succeed? Because there's so many things that we need to do." I had private messaged Nessa. I'm in the process of working with several of our members on helping them create and launch their practices, and there's so many ups and downs. It's just terrifying and thrilling all at once. So we want to make it as just thoroughly thrilling as we can.
Yes, we realize that as fun as it is to get trained and learn a new skill set, some people actually want to make some money and start a business and rock and roll. They don't just want to get trained. For those of you guys that are new here today, welcome to Louology, Crushing Aesthetics, Zoom with Lou. We're here to kind of guide you down the road, but just, you can do me a favor, guys, do me a quick favor. In the chat box, tell me really quickly your profession: nurse, doctor, entrepreneur, laser tech, esthetician, confused, whatever. Give me your career and what your plan is. Starting a business, want to start a business, have an existing business, want to look for a job, this is a side hustle, part-time, just something really quick. Profession and what you're looking to do, what your goal is, just so we can kind of eyeball the chat really quick, and then we will rock and roll.
Yes, and while you're doing that, I'll say hello to a few of our members. I can see like Yanet and Ness. We've worked together on their branding, on their website. Hello, and also automating their practices. So, Louis.
Yes.
One thing that's come up with one of our members really fascinated me. And sure. You had asked him, it's a medical doctor, you asked him to reach out to you directly, but I was like, darn, I want to hear this answer. So sure. There's a couple things. So Louis is in the process of launching this huge location in Illinois. And it's a medical spa and also a training institute in one. But he's got other locations. He's got his Texas location, he's got his Arizona locations, and now Chicago. So how do you assess what's going on in the community? How do you decide how to make it different? And what technology are you training in Chicago? Is it all identical to everywhere else? And I'm asking you this because this is typical of what founders need to do. They need to make decisions about what they're even going to offer and how they're going to stand out.
I'm a little freaky. I'm a little crazy. I'm going to be the first one in the United States of America doing something a little bit different. Most med spas and plastic surgeon offices are very pretty and very sterile. You know, they got the wood floors and the white marble countertops. They all look kind of similar. They're all pretty. I'm kind of against being the norm. I like to be memorable. So what we're doing is, my favorite hotel in the world isn't a Four Seasons Ritz-Carlton. It's called the Zaza Hotel in Dallas, Texas. About 25 of the rooms have a theme to them. There's the Zen room, the 50 Shades of Grey room, the movie star room. They're fun, they're stylish, they're upscale. And you just want to take pictures. You want to take pictures. And I fell in love with it. So we spent the last 6 months designing theme rooms that we're rolling out nationwide in the next 2 weeks, actually, where every single room has got this amazing theme selfie wall where people can take pictures. Half the people are going to hate it, you guys. It's kind of like Howard Stern. You love him or you hate him, because the guy's rude and crude and talks about porn and strippers and sex. And you would think he should be banned from the world and go to hell, you know, and lock the gates, or he's a funny guy. Half the world's going to love it, think it's cool and awesome. Half the world's never going to step foot in my place and thinking I'm a little out there, a little cuckoo. What am I doing this? Am I like some cartoon in a dentist's office, the whales, the dolphins? But I'm okay with that. So from an aesthetic standpoint, that's what we're doing for Point of Difference. From a technology and injectable standpoint, we are being consistent. And when I say consistent, the exact same technology and injections I got in Arizona and Texas, we're duplicating in Chicago. And the reason for that is, I think it'd be weird if I went to a Starbucks in Arizona and I got a caramel latte where they put in 3 pumps of caramel and 2 ounces of almond milk. And then I go to a different state and they put in 6 pumps of caramel. And then I go to McDonald's in one state and there's 2 all-beef patties on the bun. And the other state, they got chicken there, whatever. So it's like, I'm just a big fan of consistency if somebody evolves to having multiple locations, but not everybody's like that. Some people kind of mix it up and shake it up. But also, even though I'm consistent with technology and injectables, it's a moving target, because there's always something latest and greatest. So for example, in 6 months, we're bringing something called the Tri-Lift, which is an amazing device. It literally lifts the face. It does what injectables can do. It's freaking expensive as heck. So thank goodness we're not paying for it, because we give them all kinds of free exposure. But so, we're going to add something new to all the locations, and there's new injectables coming out. Like we just added Radius. The reason I did have Radius in the past, little risky for a beginner. Somebody the first day injecting, I don't really want to give them something that's not a hyaluronic acid. A hyaluronic acid is like Juvederm and Restylane Versa. You mess up, you can dissolve it, not a big deal. Radius, Sculptra, they're called biostimulators. You can't really dissolve them if you messed up. So I don't want to call it an advanced injectable, but it's kind of like, it's step 2, not step 1.
So the things I've gotten out of here that could be very, very good tips for you guys is, don't forget your journey. From the very beginning, you should be sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your excitement, pictures, if you're constructing, if you're moving into another space, before and after pictures, whatever it might be. Just bring people through the journey and start with your own contacts and start getting out. So one of the biggest things too is to start getting out and telling your story. Start getting out to local events, entrepreneurial events, like business owners, local business owners. Every city has free events. So just Google or get out there in your city, go to your city's website, Chamber of Commerce. You don't have to join. Just go to these free events and start soaking in, like how to find funding, just how to start a business, how to do branding. There's always community events. And the thing is, you're going to learn, but you're also going to meet new people. So grab their business cards, start building your database. That's one thing I would highly, highly recommend. The other thing that you mentioned, Louis, that I just think is sort of funny is I didn't realize, like, one of our clients that we work with on her branding and helping her launch and getting her automated and everything, she said she loves catering to nurses. She's a nurse. And I asked her, why nurses? And she goes, because they have potty mouth like me. And I was like, that's really interesting, like I never really thought of nurses, like her tribe or nurses with potty mouth. And I just thought that was hilarious. And so you really have to figure out who you are. And pretty much stick to that and make sure that your space reflects that. Make sure you know your focus of who you're going after.
Some people have a bunch of money in the bank. Some people have no money in the bank. So I don't care if you got $10 zillion in the bank. My personal opinion is when you start a business, don't go crazy and break the bank and build the most elaborate thing in the world. When you get the crazy ideas, I'm not saying don't do it, but wait till you're evolved and matured and you're rocking and rolling, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to screw up in the beginning a million times. You don't want to break the bank when you're screwing up. You want to baby step the dollars and the cents. I mean, some things you got to spend money on. You got to spend money on, getting a medical director agreement. You got to spend money on a logo, on a website, blah, blah, blah. Those kind of things. There's some things you have to, necessities, but the luxuries, kind of take your time and baby step. You don't need to start off buying every single laser device and every single skincare product and every single injectable, because that costs a fortune. Baby step it. Walk before you run, regardless of your financial scenario.
Yeah, and one thing I'll mention that I learned just through the process is an attorney alone, lots of them will ask for like $4,000 or $5,000, sometimes $6,000 retainer. Yeah. And we figured it out that, most people, when you play it smart, you can use paralegal. We have paralegal services that have guaranteed us very, very good pricing and things. But when you play it smart, you can start the entire business. You can get your branding done. You can get all the legal stuff done, like for about $5,000 total. Louis, I'd love you to talk about the smartest kind of lease agreements. Like, what's the smartest way to afford technology, or how to make money on injections and order your products the right way?
Well, luckily, in the injectable world, it's awesome, because providing you don't have a prior bankruptcy and your credit's decent, you can float it for 90 days. When I say float it, if I buy 10 grand of Botox today, I don't pay the bill for 90 days. They carry the paper for 90 days. So that gives me 90 days to buy and sell and make some money. In the technology world, unfortunately, no different. You have to come down with 20% out of pocket. A lot of people say, Louis, should I lease or finance? And they're thinking of a car, Erica. They think, okay, if you go out, you guys, and you buy a car, maybe your payment's $600 a month for 5 years. You own it. But you lease a car and it's $400 a month, but you give it back after the 5 years, right? Everybody thinks that lasers are the same way. Unfortunately, they're not. Lease finance is the same thing. It's like a dollar buyout. So you're stuck putting down 20%. You're stuck making the same payment, whether you want to call it a finance or lease, for 5 years, or maybe 6 years. That's just the way they all operate.
If you own equipment and you're using it and it's not busy enough, consider leasing that out to someone who wants to work in your facility. So they're taking care of it, but you can charge other people for your assets.
I don't like the device leaving the premise, because unfortunately, a lot of insurance companies won't cover it if it leaves the grounds. But if you get some esthetician, laser tech, who's got a following, maybe they're a hairstylist, they got clients they can bring in and use your laser at your place of business, then absolutely go charge them not $1,300 a day, charge them $300 a day, $400 a day. And then guess what? Cut the deal with them if they bring these people in for lasers, that you have permission to market them injectables and skincare and whatever else. Then you really make out,
because I look at some of you who might have practices and they're not busy enough, but look at all you have and what gold that would be to someone starting out who can't afford equipment. And if you can't afford equipment, you might want to call around saying, can I lease? Can I come in and just 1 day a month or 1 day a week?
That's a great business model. If you guys think about it, nobody's ever done this in the history of the world, to my knowledge. It makes me think that if I open up a med spa tomorrow, maybe I go buy 7 amazing devices and I advertise for people that don't have the money to start a business. Hey, come bring in your clients here for X dollars. And all of a sudden you're just like a person renting space and equipment. How cool a business model might that be,
If anyone does own equipment and you're open to leasing it, reach out to me, to Erica, ERIKA, at Louology.com, and let me know. Because I might want to be able to get the word out and see if we can make connections.
My name's Diane. I was trained at NLI, and my business model is to open a spa with at least 6 treatment rooms. I'm currently under contract, and I'm going to rent to specific professionals who are probably already have somewhat of a clientele, hopefully a fairly good, but they want to grow. and I'll advertise and we'll cross-reference to each other. And so, yeah, it would involve rent on a room, but also the ability for people to utilize a specific machine on either an hourly basis or a daily basis.
And I got an idea for you too, where we could actually make money together. Not that I'm looking to make money off you, but I just had an idea. Rather than finding people already in the business, how about going, like if it was me, I'd go to the business hair salon in your town, find somebody to just slam, say, hey, we got this opportunity where you could one day a week, you come, bring your clients in, kill it financially. And I know you don't know how to use lasers, but we have a partnership with National Laser. If you get trained with them, we'll give you this smoking deal. And basically you'll pay for part of their education, but not really, it'll be off lowering the rent. So let's say your deal with them is maybe you're charging them $500 a month, $1,000 a month. Well, maybe, rather than charge them $1,000 a month, you'll charge them $700 a month. That $300 a month goes towards paying down the education, and we give them discounts and deals. So it gives it more of a juicy selling tool, even though it doesn't cost you a dime or me a dime,
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. That's great.
A great way to get going is to partner with someone who already has stuff, right? And then you're also going to be terrified and want a little bit of a mentor. But please make sure, if you're not an Inner Circle member, the full access Inner Circle, please, as a courtesy, join, just so we can give you special access to all kinds of things. What's your opinion about the importance of using a lawyer or using a paralegal and making sure you get that paperwork for,
good question. Great question. So I'm not going to bullshit you guys. The bottom line is, I don't care who the attorney is. I don't care if they're your best friend. They're going to charge you. Well, depending on the city and state you live in, nowadays the low is, God, if you're in, maybe North Dakota is $275 an hour. If you're in Manhattan, $1,000 an hour. I'd say the national average is probably $325 an hour. But here's the reality. I go get an attorney, $325 an hour. They create a medical doctor agreement. They do whatever. Guess what? They dish it off their paralegal, who they're paying whatever, $70 an hour, $80 an hour. They charge you the $350. They pay $70. They make the spread. They do nothing. So we have connections, you guys. If you need connections, the paralegals that can do what the attorneys do, we can point you in the right direction. Just hit us up anytime.
Please be sure to go to Louology. Just look for mentors if you go to Louology.com, because the people on that page are incredible. And they promise us the best pricing. We just created a relationship with McKesson, which is the organization that Lewis and National Laser, National Injection Institute, they order all of their supplies through McKesson. And one thing that Dave told me, he's the dedicated account rep for any Louology members. He said that he'll give you better pricing than newbies get. He's going to leverage and National Lasers lose buying power, and he's going to give you better pricing if you mention Louology and National Laser or National Injection Institute.
McKesson does have a deal in place with Galderma. Nobody else. Galderma. So I believe you can either buy direct from Galderma, or you can buy through McKesson at the exact same price. So out of convenience, you can be buying your whatever. You can buy all your syringes and this, that, McKesson, just a one-stop shop. You can buy your Dysport or wrestling if you so choose. So yeah, they're publicly traded, you guys. They're a big player. Now, could you get a better price to some small players? Possibly, but what you probably have to do, and we buy like 20 different things, so we'd have to go with like 7 different companies to save $1, and it's almost not worth it. Sometimes, penny wise, dollar foolish. You're trying to save a penny and it costs you $1 because all the time and effort you got put into it. So I think McKesson's currently the best way to go.
Look at too, wherever you're buying, and this is what McKesson is known for. They can get you, no matter where you are in the country, they can get you what you ordered even the next day. 85% of the time, they get it to you next day. So what this means to you is if you're ordering drugs, let's say, you can even sell it and book appointments before you even buy the inventory, right? So it's always nice to have it pre-sold before you even buy it, and not have things going stale, or not like stockpile a lot of things. Just order it almost like just in time. And worst case, you're having to wait a day. Now, I do want to get into details here. So I was talking to my niece over the weekend, and she just got trained, and she had said she likes doing the Botox and everything else, but her favorite thing is the PDO threads. She said, PDO threads, I buy the inventory for $100, and then I sell the treatment for like $600-700. She loves it. So how come we're not hearing more hype around PDO threads versus injections?
It's newer. Now it's much safer in my opinion. But what's interesting, for every 10 medical professionals in the United States, I'd be willing to bet that only 1.5 is a regular user of PDO threads, which blows my mind because the results are amazing. The client satisfaction is strong. The number of adverse events I've seen in 6 years has been 2. I mean, personally, I think you're crazy if you're getting this business and you're not learning PDO threads. I'm not saying that to try to sell you our 2-day course. I'm saying that financially speaking, I mean, I'll give you an example. We did somebody yesterday and they did a full face. We charged them $2,500 and I paid less than $375 in cost. That's a pretty good margin. I'm a big fan. I am a big freaking fan. The reason that Allergan and Galderma, the big boys, aren't doing it yet, they can't patent it. You know, they can patent drugs and nobody else can knock it off, and they're not, but I don't think you can. It's like vitamins. You can't patent vitamins, right? You can only patent drugs. I don't think you can patent the PDO threads, which is why the big boys haven't got in it. So if you ask me the reason why everybody's been doing it, Erica, the reason is the big boys, Allergan, Galderma, et cetera, aren't promoting it. And they're the 600-pound gorillas that have $1 zillion trillion, TV, radio, but the PDO companies are smaller. So that's why it's just not as wide, but it's getting there. It'll get there organically. It will get there. I bet you in 5 years from today, it'll be everywhere. You know, there's 3 things out there that, in my opinion, truly, I guess everything does a little, collagen building technologies and everything does a little bit, but the things that do it massively, PDO threads and the 2 biostimulators, which is Sculptra and Radius, those 3 things all are really strong for building your own natural collagen, which, by the way, you guys, you probably know this, but I think it's age 20, I believe, we start losing 5% of our collagen a year. Is that crazy? So at age 30, you've lost a lot of collagen. You know, it's like, it just goes away, you know? So, you know, there's products you can take. There's collagen vitamins and lotions and potions that would help rebuild it too. But I'm a big fan now for the PDOs and the biostimulators, Sculptra Radius for rebuilding collagen. And a lot of clients like that more. And what's interesting with Sculptra, you guys, is not an immediate result. You know, like you do a Juvederm filler, you see something right away. With the biostimulators like a Sculptra, you don't see it, the best result, for like 3 to 6 months. But man, when you see that result, holy shit, it is strong and it lasts longer. And I love it for like the temples, man. The temples for Sculptra is freaking amazing. And the neck, like toning up the neck for Radius is amazing. So there's different drugs for different folks, but there's a lot of things out there that are cool. Whatever the hottest product in the world was, I would promote it hot and heavy. So let's say there's a vitamin C product that costs $120 and there's all over infomercials and $1 zillion in sales. Profit margins suck. You know, I'd buy it for, $70 and sell it for 120. But on my website, when you call it, we'd have the exact same product made by the same manufacturer. Private labeled my brand. Rather than selling for $125, we sold it for $75, and I was paying $6 for it. And 80% of the clients would go to my private label products. So they come through the door for the Botox, but when they realize the price savings on the Jeuveau, they'd shift gears when they're right in front of you. So just kind of keep that in mind when Erica was saying.
So with Radiance and Sculptra, the biostimulators,
yep.
How much time does that take to treat versus Botox?
I would say it's a similar time to any filler. So the time it takes you to do a Juvederm or a Restylane filler, whether it's lips or cheeks or whatever, I'd say it's a very similar time, almost identical for Radius or Sculptra.
Okay. All right. So that's good. And you can make a lot more profit with that.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Also stand out, especially if you're very good on video.
There is a zillion trillion private label companies out there. I don't care whether you're buying milk at the market or soda at the market or skincare. But the bottom line is you've got these clients / patients right in front of your face. They're going to listen to whatever you recommend. And you're going to give them good stuff, but you're going to steer them towards the things that's just as good and makes you more money, and everybody wins together, and you will get them for your private label because they're in front of you. They're in front of you. You know, now if you're just selling it online, a little tougher, then you're competing with the big boys, right?
So if someone is either established or, just trying to decide what to start with, what's the best piece of equipment to start with for microneedling and skin tightening, let's say?
If you're looking to walk before you run and not break the bank, I would start with one of the pens. My favorite brand currently, now I may have a different name for you 6 to 12 months from now because there's always something latest and greatest coming out, but currently I love the Exceed brand, EXCEED. Candela has the exclusive United States distributorship. It's out of a different country, somewhere in Norway, Sweden, but I think there you can get them for, I think they're retailing for $5,000. If you say you went to National Laser, even if you didn't, if you say that, they'll drop it down $1,000 or something like that. So for whatever, $3,000-$4,000, extremely affordable. Amazing result, you guys. Amazing result. That's what, like, you know, Kim Kardashian did her vampire facial with, where they drew the blood from her body and put it in her face, and they microneedle in the face. So that's a nice stepping stone. Once you start making some money and you're evolving, maturing, then I'd step into the more expensive device, which could cost you maybe $80,000. They do a combination of radio frequency energy and microneedling in the same handpiece, which is like this. It's like the microneedling pen on steroids, which is a better result, more aggressive result, and you charge a lot more. So maybe for a microneedling pen treatment, I say pen because it kind of looks like a big, thick pen. Maybe the market is $150 or something like that. But when you do the actual device that's radio frequency microneedling, then you're talking, you know, $500, $600, $700 a treatment. When I got in this business 20 years ago, there was no platform devices. Every device was one for hair removal, one for photofacial skin rejuvenation, one for tattoo removal, one for body contouring, one for fractures, blah, 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 blah. Everything was a standalone. Well, that gets expensive. If everything costs $100 grand, that had to spend $1 million in the blink of an eye. But now there's platform devices. So for example, there's devices that do hair removal and IPL photofacial skin rejuvenation and laser fractionalized skin rejuvenation and blah, blah, blah. There might be like 4 different modalities on one system. We call those platform systems. Most of the big brands out there, like Luminous is awesome for platform systems. Cartessa is awesome. Candela is awesome. So there's a lot of them out there, but that would be where I would start, just because you'll get more bang for the buck.
One other thing I wanted to cover too is, how would you make those decisions based on what you learn in the community in order to stand out above and beyond the people? Like, how do you do that research?
I think it really comes down to branding. I mean, you really got to just say your message, whatever your message, whatever your brand and your message is. I find that if you spend time and money hammering that home again and again and again, your videos and your print and your this and your emails and everything you do, pretty soon you start hearing it back in the marketplace. Like, oh, that's the one who does those awesome lips. Oh, and so like, I found that that's worked really well for us over the years. So we're really hot and heavy on just kind of repeating the same message and just beating it to death again and again and again for who we are. And it's kind of like, you know, we all want the expert, you guys. We don't, like, if there's 10 people out there, let's say you're going to get dermal fillers in your lips for the very first time, and you don't really know anybody, you moved into town, you check out 10 Instagram profiles or 10 Google websites, and you find 10 people that look like they do a pretty good job. And out of the 10 people, 9 of them do everything. They do fillers and Botox and lasers and ketamine clinics and naturopathic medicine and massages, blah, blah, blah. But one of them does only lips. That's all they do. Who are you going to get your first lips treatment from? Stupid question, right? You're going to go to the expert. You're going to go to the person that does nothing but lips. You're the person that does it all day long, right? Just like when I was going through a divorce and I wanted a divorce attorney, I got recommendations of 5 attorneys, and 4 of the 5 did all these millions of attorney things, and including divorce, but 1 did just divorce. That's who I hired. So even if you do 20 things, when you're out there marketing and branding and promoting yourself, focus on something. Become the expert at something. Now, whether it could be 1, 2, 3 things, but don't be all things to all people. What's that saying, Erica? Like, jack of all trades, master of none, What used to be different, but is now becoming common. And I would say 2 years ago, I saw a lot of med spas and medical aesthetics practices adding the IV infusion chairs and kind of the thing, and the weight loss, things like that. Now I feel like it's a ton of people. Now I feel like half the companies out there that are starting are doing all those holistic type things, whether it's a vitamin C infusion or this or that. So usually what starts is everybody has a great idea, and then everybody does it, which is okay. That's just the way markets evolve. That's how markets evolve.
What's the most, like, I see that doing your branding is so incredibly important before you even have meetings with sales reps and funders and this and that. What would you say is the most important thing about your communication to get the best rates on things and to get the best deals on equipment?
They're always going to give you a this week only, end of quarter sale, Easter special, blah, blah, blah. And it's always bullshit. You can always get that price anytime. And the best way to buy something is to not get overly excited and look them right in the eyes and say, oh, cool, I'm shopping a variety of companies. And this is interesting, and I'll circle back to you. Don't get too excited, and always be willing to walk away. Even when you're ready and you're going to buy something, don't ever buy it. Walk away, because magically you're going to get that call a week or 2 weeks later. Oh, I'm just thinking about you, and I got this special deal, and this unit's 1 day old, and blah, blah, blah. And you'll be shocked how much money you can save by not letting your excitement and your emotions kind of sending a message to them like, ooh, I got a hot buyer right here and I'm going to sell them today,
I hope everyone had a blast. I know we love, love, love doing this. Please join our inner circle. Join us the third Wednesday of every month, same time. And that's a more interactive. That's far more interactive where you're asking questions, we're answering your questions.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Hello, hello.
Thanks.
Goodbye, goodbye.